Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, not sharing a story right off the bat, we have something interesting new. I've talked about it on the live stream before, but I haven't made it a topic, I don't believe. Do an ikigai. Ikigai is actually a Japanese word. IKIGAI. And I don't think it's something that's hard to understand. It's a diagram, it's a way of thinking, and pulled up an article on it. I've done it myself. I've suggested it to students I've had before. I've suggested it to past clients. And I think it's something interesting to look at. And we can interact on the live stream and kind of break this down in a simple way. So, Tom, welcome. Tommy Willis, it's always a pleasure, my friend. How to change your life after a breakup. So, sounds like a fucking dramatic question if you ask me. But let's just break it down into doing an ikigai. We could do a whole fucking series on how to change your life after a breakup. But I think it does start with the idea that how to change your life as a fucking individual, right? So because get that light on. Because the problem is everyone's trying to get their ex back and they're not really worried about getting themselves back on deck. And then that's where the difference lies, right? I think everyone would agree. So ikigai is something, a lot of times I talk to people in a live coaching session, not everyone, but they're not really happy with their life as an individual. They're not happy with their job. And so what's up, Mary? What's up, David? And so ikigai is something I learned about from Joseph Rodriguez, who has a really good YouTube channel and does book reviews. And basically, it starts out with a diagram. And if you're wondering, because a lot of people go, oh, what's your, you want validation back a lot of times. Yeah. And how are you going to get validation back? By being the best you can be, by being an outstanding person, by, going to the gym, getting a good job, having a purpose. It's almost like it's kind of funny doing this for a long time. You hear this phrase of having your purpose, having your meaning in life, but I don't know if people break that down enough to actually tell people like, how do they get to that point? Because there's so many people that go, well, I don't really have a purpose. There's nothing I really like to do. Okay, so like there's nothing you like to do. I mean, there's some people that have been stuck for years, 7, 8, 9, 10 years where they're like doing some monotonous job that pays the bills or a job they don't really like, but it pays well. And it's funny doing what I do and talking to a variety of different people. When I ask them about their job, it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's okay. I'm like, how long have you worked there? Oh, like 6 years. And how do you feel about your job? I mean, it's okay. The environment's not really great. And the thing is, like with FaceTime, the interaction and the body language during this time, you're like, yeah, you don't like your job. You're just doing it as a means to an end, which a lot of people do. And there's a time and a place in your life where you got to eat shit and take a shitty job and whatnot. But you want to get somewhere at a point in your life, especially I'd say in your late 20s to early 30s, where you're like actually working towards doing something you really want to do. Does that make sense? Because otherwise, if you get into your 40s and your 50s and you're just aimlessly kind of going through the motions, you're going to fuck up your relationship and you're going to have more breakups because you're not happy with your job. Because you not being happy at your job, a lot of times you're doing your job 5, 8 hours, 10 hours a day. You're spending more time on your job than you are on your relationship. And so if you're not happy at your job, if you're not fulfilled, if you're not proud and privileged, you're going to take it out on your partner. The amount of people I've met that talk about their partner being this, that, and the other, being negative, being bitchy, being annoying, being needy. And then I ask, well, what are they doing for a job right now, your partner? Oh, they're not working right now. Or they hate their job. So ikigai is not necessarily one of those things that everyone would say. It might not just be for a job. So let's just ask some questions. We got 5 on deck. Thanks for the likes, folks. And you start this ikigai out with, maybe I'll just put this on the screen. Is this a bad thing to do? Show another screen? Yeah, it doesn't show that well. But So there's 4 subtopics: what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what can you be paid for. So let's do a little thing right now. If you guys have a paper and pen at home, or if you're watching this after the fact, get a paper and pen out, pause the video right now. If you don't have a paper and pen, maybe take some notes on your phone. But I think this is kind of a cool exercise just to think about for yourself anyways. So I would just say, write down 5 things that you love. So if it's your dog, and I would, what I add to this, I think it's separate to love a human being or your animals or pets. I would add to this, what do you love to do? Okay. What do you love to do? Like, isn't it such a different answer when someone goes, "Oh, do you like your job, or do you like swimming?" And someone goes, "I love swimming. I love my job." Right? It's such a different way to answer something, right? And the times that I actually say I love something, I actually surprise myself and I go, "Wow." And I haven't always I've had a few jobs in my life, and I definitely can't say that there was many of them that I loved. Like, I love doing a live stream. I don't love making or editing videos. And I think that's why I like doing a live stream a lot better, because the live stream is already being uploaded. So I don't have to upload it after. I just erase the fact of any editing because it's live, right? And so it's more genuine this way anyways. And it's interactive. I get to talk to people, which is something I like to do. Anyways, so one of the things you love is sour gummy bears. I remember I used to like Sour Patch Kids. I don't know if you remember those when I was a kid. I don't eat them now. But what do you love? And then maybe what do you love to do? I would add to it. Maybe you do 2 separate things. And when you think about these things for a moment, maybe I'm going to interact with you guys on this, if that's cool. When you do something like this, don't overthink your answers. I don't know what Haribo is. That sounds Japanese. So what do I love to do? Right? Breakup coaching. I actually do love it. And teaching, fishing, hiking, live stream, good conversation. These are the things I love to do. What else? Go to the beach. So you get the idea. Write down a group of these things. Again, to love to do something is not the same as like, correct? Okay, so I love taking photos and creating artists. I love cutting hair more than coloring, and I like doing pedicures more than manicures. Wow, you like dealing with people's feet more than their hands. That's fucking interesting. And I like folding laundry. I love folding laundry. Isn't it interesting how there's a lot of people that love cleaning their house? I've asked this question before, and I had it presented in a class. And the amount of students that said they loved cleaning their rooms was kind of surprising. I definitely wouldn't say I love to clean my room or to love to do dishes. So get a 5 or 6 of those. And like I said, I would for this particular thing, I would say what I love to do, not necessarily people I love, because I think those are separate. What the world needs. Interesting question. Okay, David, if you want to share, go for it, bud. If you want to share that, or you want to email me. I do remember the email chat before. Go ahead and shoot. I'll continue on with this, but I'll come back to you. So, what you love, what the world needs. Now, this is an interesting question, right? I love playing scratchers. I don't know if that's going to be very useful in you doing a job, but maybe you can do something with gambling. What the world needs. I would say that the world needs, this is actually funny because people that get really deep into politics and blaming politicians and different things, I always ask them, like, well, what would you do if you were president, or what would you do to make the world a better place? And a lot of people get pissed when I ask, like, oh, who do you think? I'm just asking, like, what would you do? Right. And so what the world needs, I would say the world needs more study abroad programs where young people could actually live in other countries to be more understanding of different cultures. I would say the world needs, see, and when I say this, don't just say, oh, the world needs peace or the world needs love. That's way, way too broad. Way too broad. The world needs more access to nature. I don't know. Be specific. The world needs more positive vibes, humor, fun, art. So specifically, like I said, specifically, I would say more study abroad programs at universities that are scholarship based. What about that? That's something that I think the world also needs. This is random. Donors. I didn't know that, you put on your license if you want to be a donor. And if something happens to you, your organs and whatnot could be donated to other individuals around the world. If you ever seen the movie 7 Pounds, they do this. Simply by filling out a form, you could do that. My sister did that and ended up donating pretty much her whole body after she passed away. And I never knew how many people are helped by that. So maybe the world needs more donors, possibly. I think the world needs more people that help individuals that want help rather than helping masses with, large chunks of information. So for first 2 topics, what you love to do, write down 5 or 6 things, what you love to do, whatever comes off the top of your head. I don't think many people are going to compete with, and here's, I'm going to go somewhere with this at the end. David, I will come back to you, bud. Okay. What you can be paid for, what you can be paid for. So if I looked at the things I love to do, breakup coaching, I can get paid for it. Fishing, I could be a fishing guide. Hiking, I guess I could be a hiking guide of some bit. Live streaming, I can get donations from that, I suppose. Going to the beach, can you get paid to go to the beach? I suppose if you had a bar, restaurant, or hotel on the beach, maybe. Interesting question, right? Now here's the golden question. Stay with me. What you love to do, what the world needs, what you could be paid for. What are you good at? This is a question I like to ask people a lot. And there's a lot of people out there that, oh, I'm not good at many things. First of all, whatever language you speak, if you speak English, you're good at speaking English, right? It's something that you've done since you were a little kid. You're actually a master of the language you learn. What are you good at? Are you good at cooking? Someone says, I'm not very good at cooking. Like, I'm not a very big cook, but I make a really good quesadilla. Who doesn't, right? Well, double-sided ones. I'm not sure what you mean by double-sided also. Maybe elaborate on that. So think about this. What are you good at? So for me, and some people think this is arrogant or cocky. It's not. To tell people what you think you're good at, genuinely think it's true, it's confidence. And if someone shoots you down for saying what you're good at, I would ask them, well, what are you good at? Because you should feel like you're good at a few things. And that's to be completely frank with you, that's people's biggest problem with confidence and self-esteem, is they don't feel like they're good at enough things. Doesn't mean you need to be good at or great at or Michael Jordan level at basketball, but there should be some things you hang your hat on. And people that I know that have a lot of confidence, they're not good at many things, but they're great to excellent at 2 or 3 things, and it makes them very confident in themselves. You look at sports, right? Sports is huge because you get a lot of notoriety. Sometimes people make a lot of money. It's popular, whatnot. But the other part of it is if someone becomes good at their sport, it feels good. And so if you combine what you love with what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs, now that's a nice mix. right? And so me doing breakup coaching with some live streams, developing some of the techniques that I do in coaching sessions, all these different things. This is something that, if I look at the Ikigai, it lines up. I actually love talking to people about their breakups and helping people out with their problems. It sounds crazy, right? I actually think the world needs people that aren't therapists or PhDs. These people aren't bad, by the way, but I think it's assumed because, a hospital or somewhere that your insurance can pay for, they guide you to XYZ therapist, which you don't really have a choice on, and you just assume's good because they have a title. It's not necessarily good. So I think there should be more options therapy wise. And I think that YouTube and online is providing that right now with what I do and what other people do out there. So I think the world needs more of that. They need more options for people with their problems, and people need more options outside of just going to a doctor or being directed to someone by their insurance. What can you be paid for? I could be paid for my time and listening to you and giving you advice about your breakup. And what are you good at? I'm good at helping people with these things because I'm a good communicator, and I've actually been through a bad breakup or two in my life, so I can relate. What could I get paid for? My previous occupation is what first came up, yet I think I could do something new and more out of the box. And what the Ikigai does is you're combining passion, mission, profession, vocation. You're trying to come up with something. Let me add something to this that's really interesting. Make a list of things that you think you're good at more specifically, and then think about some things that you might be top 25% in the world at or top 20% in the world at. And what does that mean? There's, like doing manicures and pedicures. If you've done it for 5, 6, 10 years, Mary, you're probably top 20% in the world, right? How could you combine a mix of talents and skills with your life experience to create something different, to create your own field? What am I good at? Humor, ability, desire to learn, listening, sentimentality, creativity. So Judy Jack, those are great things to be good at, but they're very broad topics. So what kind of humor? What specifically do you learn about best? History, science? Is there some field? I would get way more specific on that. Let me get back to you, David. Reached out today asking if I wanted to get some of my things, but she was reaching a lot, so I set up a time for us to talk in person. Very hot and cold, but said she's going to check her work schedule and get back to me. She still seems very hurt from the breakup. I thought that she was recent news from my house. Reached out today asking. She reached out to you or you reached out to her, David? Asking because you asked if she wanted to get some things. I'm fucking confused. Reached out today asking if I wanted to get some of my things. She reached out to you because you asked her the same question before. Okay. Because she asked you basically the same exact thing. Well, when I read that text interaction, David, hey, David, she reached out. Like I told you before, she seemed like she was trying to keep you in her frame. Yeah, that just tells me, and the way the interaction was, she was controlling in it. In my view, I can't show everyone the text that went on, but basically, David doesn't mind if I say this, I don't think, but basically, in a nutshell, David had some of her stuff. He was cleaning out his house, and this is his ex. How long have you guys been broken up, David? 2 or 3 months? David's like, I texted her, hey, I got your stuff here. I just wanted to know, did you want me to bring it over to you, or did you want me to ship it to you? I forgot exactly what he said, but basically she was like, oh, that stuff you can just get rid of it. You could just throw it out. He's like, it's actually decent, nice stuff. And like, this is probably stuff you don't want to throw out. Oh, what is it? Oh yeah, just throw it out, kind of a thing. LOL, LOL about a couple of things. And then at the end, she's like, oh, by the way, happy graduation. And he graduated like a week or 2 weeks ago. She wasn't being receptive. I found it of her being like I said, controlling the conversation, not being inviting to the fact that you hit her up. And so I would just leave it alone. The fact that she's hit you back 3 days later means that she wants your attention. Hot and cold, I think that's how she is as a person, David, from our live coaching session. I think that this is how she runs relationships. She keeps you on your toes. And the way you told me, I was going to say bitchy myself, but some people get sensitive when I say bitchy about their girlfriend. Do you really want to re-enter a relationship with someone like this? I mean, just the way the tone is in the text and the tone that you used to tell me, the way she used to talk to you. Obviously, you're staying with the relationship because you're highly attracted to her. This is what's really interesting. Is I notice, especially with guys, they'll deal with some shit, and in my head, I'm like, damn, this is a confident individual. Like, David, you're a confident individual, dude. Like, you're not lacking in a lot of areas. You seem like you can get women. And then you talk to someone and they're hung up on a breakup, and you're like, the connection's not good. The trust isn't good. She's being annoying. She's being bitchy. And you're like, why are you sticking around? Oh, attraction and intimacy is outstanding. Ding, 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 ding. That's what it usually is. And so men are willing to deal with more shit, especially if you're in a dry spell or you're not seeing other women. And you think, well, you know what? Actually, she's not so bad. She's not this. She's not that. Really, you're thinking with not your head, but your other head. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with it. Just realize what you're doing, because you're trying to create, this was actually good. But the reality is, from what you told me about that relationship, long term, that kind of woman, she's just constantly going to be telling you what to do, how to do it, and where to do it. And the whole reason you guys broke up is because she was too demanding in the end. She gave you an ultimatum and basically told you, you have to do this, you have to do that. And whenever that happens, you're just opening up the door. You're just opening up the door for that to be the rest of the relationship. I said, we should talk about things between me and her. She asked if I wanted closure. I said, no, I'm fine. See, that's her. That's exactly what I meant about Azam hit it on the head. No pun intended. Dry spell is when a man starts making excuses for a woman. It's human, bro. Sounds like it may be too soon and she had mixed emotions. I mean, it's different because I know your situation, David. I'm saying this particular woman, from the way you described her and your interactions and some of the things that went down, I found petty at times. I found, like you said, not just ego-based, but she's controlling the situation. And you had moments where you had some reasonable things to question, some reasonable things to break up, or it's not break up, but reasonable things, like as a man, to go, hey, you took a provocative photo on Facebook while you were on vacation. I have a good memory, right? And you're like, I don't think it's cool that you took this picture in fucking Cancun or wherever it was, and you're posed in that particular thing. And she's like, what? Da, 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 and like going on and on and on and on. And you're like, that's a boundary that you're bringing up, where you're like, look, now that we're together, I don't want you, basically in a bikini, posed like you're in a rap video or something like that, or, and you're bringing it up, and she's just basically going, bam, she's not even listening to you. So a lot of your stuff is like, I believe that you're still interested in her because you're highly attracted to her and the intimacy was good. Everything else, if you had to be honest with yourself, connection wise, kind of where you're at, it was off and on. But I think that if you guys revisit things, and I think personally, like, oh, did you want closure? That's mean. I don't think that's. What do you want, David? It doesn't matter how I would, because if I'm talking to her, it's easy for me to tell you how I would handle it, being that I don't really have feelings for this woman. I haven't had intimacy with her, and I don't know how attractive she is. So it's easy for me to just go, oh, yeah, she seems bitchy. She seems annoying. She seems like she's trying to control the situation. What I'd ask David is, what do you want from the interaction? Because you don't want closure. It sounds like, if I had to guess, you'd love to be friends with benefits. She reached out randomly because she wants to cat paw the fuck out of you. If I had a knee Burke, she likes the attention. Oh, David's back in the mix. Okay, let me see if I can play with this fucker. Oh yeah, did you want to get your stuff from my house? Yeah, I'm interested. Oh well, I'm not available Friday. Oh well, I'm not. Well, oh, did you want to get closure from the relationship just so I can, spit in your face again? She doesn't, honestly, David. I don't say this is just a simple statement. She doesn't seem like a nice person. Sometimes I told you this. She doesn't seem very sweet, and she has some moments. I don't say this often where it's not feminine. You know what I mean? And that's where you're losing. That's where she's putting you in check a lot of times. And when you were telling me the different stories, there was times when you were backpedaling using reason and logic, and she was just hammering you with emotion and blamefulness. And a lot of times what will happen is someone that's very manipulative, you'll come to them in a reasonable light, and you'll be like, hey, I have this issue, or we have this problem. And then they'll turn it into something completely different, which is what she was doing when she argued with you. It's actually a tactic. It's actually a technique. And when you're around people like that, it's very, you don't even know they're doing it, but until you take a step back. But they'll basically, like I said, you come to her and you go, hey, that picture you took with your friends, I'm not telling you can't take pictures. I'm not telling you can't. I'm not a jealous type, but that picture, the way you took it, I'm not comfortable with that. Now, a lot of women will go, oh, at least my man cares, or my husband cares, or my boyfriend cares, because you're not demanding, you're not accusing them of cheating. You're saying, hey, look, this is a little bit too far. It's a little too risque. I don't like you showing that much skin in a picture online, social media. If you say it reserved, that's a reasonable thing as a partner, right? Now, for her to flip it into an argument that's highly emotional and saying, like, you don't tell me what to do, these are the kinds of things that are going to come up over and over again, right? That's the way I look at it. And this individual, I'm assuming, is very good looking and gets a lot of attention, and flirts and plays with guys' emotions a lot. And for women, it's fun. It's cat pawing. And I think that if you revisit things with this woman, maybe the minute you get intimate, you'll be back to being all in, David, right? You'll be back to all in. And I would say the shitty thing right now with COVID, it's really hard for guys to go out there dating. This comes up when I'm in live coaching session. Well, what about COVID? It's hard to overcome that. I get it. Like, that's an elephant in the room for sure. That in the meantime, the ideal situation for you, if you revisit that relationship, David, is to get intimacy and be able to separate that from her being a long-term partner. Because I think deep down, long-term, you're going to be with her and deal with some of those antics. I don't think so. You're too much of a person that's got things planned and where you want to go with yourself in life and different things. I don't think it coincides with her. Dry spells when a man starts to reason things. What's up, Mac? What's new? Life goals? Well, live stream's new today. Everything's good. Life is good. The beach has been beautiful. I got to start posting these Instagram pictures of this. Just the sunsets alone is gorgeous. She is passive aggressive, want to be in her frame. She will manipulate you into submission. Azam's got a point. Azam, you could be doing he doesn't. I know the situation better than Azam does, and I would agree. I don't know. It's not just passive aggressive. It's the manipulation is like full tilt. It's always in her frame. Proactive, photo dumper, provocative. Skinner, what's up? How are you, buddy? Chicago's finest. How would you handle talking to her then? Okay, I just mentioned that. If we ever forget something, it's gonna be on. Honestly, I after those interactions you've had over the close, especially when she said, "Do you want closure?" Done. She said, "Did you want closure?" What did she say? Say just confused on why she reached out randomly. She wants your attention. It wasn't random. She wants to string you along. If she asked if you want closure, maybe that's a test. I think no, I'm fine. It's a great response. Does she ever ask for money? No, Rob. Yeah, that wasn't an issue. Some girls like keeping guys hanging on. It's almost like a game to see how long they can drag it out. I agree with Rob. Maybe eventually they will throw other guys in your face too. David, this kind of female had a rejection complex. The more indifferent, nonchalant, uncaring, unfazed you are, the more she digs you. True. True that. Oh, Johnny, also known as OG. How are you, my friend? Yes, 100% of the time that works. Nah, she's publicizing her sexuality on the other man. She feels she got some. Exactly, Azam. And I'm one of those. I'm not jealous. I'm, someone that's overtly or over the top jealous. I don't support that. But that's what's good about a coaching session is when you unpack everything. I can give you my honest opinion based on your situation. There's some nuances to everything. Just trying to reclaim my power in the situation. Well, reclaiming your power would be removing it. I was cheering for her, but now I think she's trying to make you linger. I've seen some cases where the ex will call you back to get advice on some new third-party guy. I don't think that's the case here, but sure. I don't know how long it's been, but I get the idea. Not long. Maybe time away will give you some more perspective. Laugh out loud. That's basically knocking the ex down and telling him, make a move or else I am seeing someone else. Don't fall for it. She feels like she's a star of the show. Dude, I dated the same girl. I know. I was going to say, Zom has a similar situation. It's not the same situation because I've done coaching sessions with both of you. So I know you guys' situations. Really? What do you do? So you date them when you break up? Oh, yeah, same building. How uncomfortable. Yeah, that is tough when you work in the same building or the same place, huh? People tell me, what do you do? I say, change job. I just had someone, they're colleagues, they work together, and the lady's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm like, you can change shifts, you can change schedules, you can change jobs, you can change departments. And she's like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. I have so many more choices than I thought. It's like, how do I do no contact? Cut off all contact, cut off all social media. Oh, I can't do that. No, that means you won't. We'll take all this advice into consideration. Thank you, everyone. We'll do what's good for you, David, at the end of the day. What would be the ideal situation for you? Would it be friends with benefits? Dude, same building, same neighborhood, same admin area. Damn. Well, you got to be a strong individual to deal with that, Azam, and you are. All right, folks. I think I have yes, David. I think that would be the ticket for you. I don't have friends with benefits as a young man in your 20s. Changes her mood real quick. Well, then I wouldn't want to be around her that often. It's like if you guys had good intimacy and whatnot, and you're like, look, that's all I really enjoyed. Well, you probably are going to say that's not all I really enjoyed, but at the end of the day, that's what got you back together. It's amazing how often that is. And the interesting thing about that is like, that's not shallow. That's real. It's like you're talking to someone and you're like, damn, this woman's bitchy. This woman's this. She's annoying. She's that. And then you get to a point and I'm like, all right, how on a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive and how was the intimacy? And they're like 10. It's like, okay, well then that's why you're dealing with all this shit. I would be calling back, asking, what should I do? I'll tell them, me move in and get another job. Did it work, Mary? Did it help? Did my advice fucking help you though? That's the funny thing. You're going to LOL. You're like, yeah, actually that's what I needed to fucking do, huh? It's actually true, because I remember when you were that conversation a while back, I was like, look, this is clear. It's absolutely uncomfortable. You see, every situation is different, hun. There is no uh one size fits all for breakups and different things. Sometimes it has to do, you weren't in a breakup, but you were in a problematic space that was made worse by your job and your environment. And so what happens is, if you work somewhere and let's just separate them really quick. So your neighborhood, your apartment, your house, where you fucking live counts. It counts so fucking much, and people just disregard it, like, oh, I just have a really good deal. Oh, I live with my sister's friend and I only have to pay $200 for the basement, but the basement has no heat, and every time I walk in I feel uncomfortable because my sister's friend and her husband always argue, and her husband always checks me out, and then you get to a point with someone, you're like, hey, fucking move. Oh, well, I only pay $200. Do you know how much that cheap rent is affecting your life? You sleep there, you spend 8-10 hours there. If you have problems with where you live, you carry that shit out into the public, out into your relationships. It's a layer of crap. And so you really have to take inventory, like where you live right now. It should be, out of a scale of 1 to 10, like a 6 to a 10, as far as stress and whatnot. If you're living somewhere with other individuals that cause you stress or angst, contempt, uncomfortableness, you go home to be comfortable. You go home to relax. What do you pay for a house, apartment, or a room for, right? It's like you see all these stars and whatnot in the houses of the rich and famous. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, you got 6 bedrooms, all this shit. I used to be a real estate agent in San Francisco Bay Area. I've seen beautiful homes, beautiful homes, right? At the end of the day, we're all going to the place for the same reason: to sleep, to take a shit, and eat. Okay. You might have, the amount of times you actually have people over and like, oh, this will be great, we can have barbecues in the backyard. Yeah, you probably do that shit once a month. Okay. You use the house for the same things. If you create an atmosphere where you live somewhere with shitty roommates, or let me add, family members that you're at an age in your 20s where you don't have to live there anymore, but somehow you're saving money, you're actually sacrificing a lot more than having to spend more money by being around people that, we use the word toxic, but I would even take it a step deeper. These are people that genuinely affect your mood. They generally affect the way you hang out with other people. You have to be aware of this. And like I said, I've looked at my own life because I've lived in a few different places. I'm like, damn, where you live affects your happiness, your mood, which affects your relationships and breakups. And so you got to take fucking inventory of that. I'm talking to someone and they're like, oh my God, my neighbors, I hate them. I'm like, all right, so what's going on with your neighbors? Oh yeah. And they'll just push that to the side. It's actually a big fucking issue in your life, right? It's a big fucking issue. Your job, your career, your school. Oh, I don't like this. There's a client I've had before. Just all he does is complain about his friends. His friends are bad to him. His friends are this. It's like, well, you live in the same city that you've always lived in since high school, elementary, and middle school. So you've never even had the opportunity to go out and meet new friends. You should move. Oh man, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that. And complains about the area he lives in, which isn't a very nice area. And he actually has the ability and resources to move, but he won't do it. And you're going to meet an attractive to good partner when you're in a state of complaining about where you live. I mean, it doesn't foster a very attractive adult, right? That when you go out with someone like, oh my God, I hate where I live, or I hate my job. Now, if someone's highly attracted to you physically, they might overlook that, especially men. But long-term, shit, as they say in The Wire, shit. Had an interview today, got the job on the spot. They're advancing me to a higher position in 3 weeks. Well, you know what, David? I'm not fucking surprised. And you shouldn't be either, dude. So fucking congratulations. You got this guy, you just graduated, you got a job already. All right. Whether, you meet up with this chick for getting your clothes back or not, It doesn't matter. In my experience, I find that exes always come back when you're in a good spot in life and when things are going good. Of course. I remember when I broke up, talk about this again and again and again. But I remember thinking like, oh, this is when breakups happen. It's so fucking pathetic. I can laugh at it. Well, women will just leave you, and it wasn't even like she left me. It was like a mutual breakup, have it out argument that ended in a breakup. But at the time, I was like, oh, I don't like my job. I don't like this. I don't like that. And this is the time you'd break up with me? Yeah, actually, this is when you're least attractive because you're fucking pitiful. You're fucking pitiful. And so until you get yourself on deck with that shit, right? You're not, if you're going to get someone else attractive or better or an equal match, you're not going to get it while you're being pitiful. And I'll tell you what, if your partner sticks with you, they're not going to find it attractive. If anything, they're going to talk down to you. And you're like, why do you talk down to me when I'm so down? They're trying to motivate your ass. But we have an unspoken agreement to ghost each other and be civil if we have to interact. Well, good for you. That's a good agreement. See, I wouldn't mind that either. Man, the breakup is easy. The awkwardness is worse. But things cool down after a while and you get used to the change. It's been 5+ months. And you're a strong individual. It really does affect you. You're talking about living together. But my advice from my experience, as long as you are focused on yourself 100%, don't try to get any reaction from the ex. It won't matter much. I agree. I just keep building myself. Your roommate's problems are your problems. That is the gospel. Someone told me that a long time ago, and I always go back to it. Your roommate's problems become your problems. And let me add, your roommates are sometimes some of your best friends. Sometimes your best friend that you like hanging out with and have a really good time with and trust with your secrets and shit, they're not good roommates. So roommates are good roommates are responsible individuals who have a job, pay rent, pay bills, clean up after themselves, and actually have a respect for other people living in the house. You know, like they'll be like, hey, I got a friend coming over tonight. You mind if I use the living room? Something like that, right? Sometimes your buddies or your close friends aren't good roommates. Had an interview today, got on the job on the spot, and they've advanced. Okay, I read it. In my experience, I find that exes always come back when you're at best. That's true. Exes come back when you don't want them to be honest. Their ego can take it. Namaste, coach. Oh, Rajiv, what's up? Your words really lifts up my spirit, and I really stopped chasing my ex. I was the one who wrote you my story recently. I remember you. You're the doctor. Good man. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for saying hello, and you're doing good work right now. You're on the fucking front lines. You're a doctor. You're dealing with COVID. We won't get deep into that, but I think I told you this before. If I remember your story correctly, she's a dentist. She didn't even understand the fact that you're like, hey, I'm busy with work right now. I'm dealing with COVID. I'm on the front lines of this shit, and I got to deal with you saying I'm not seeing you enough. Like I told you, as a doctor, as an MD, you'll never regret putting your job as a doctor first, right? Sometimes in certain situations, like it's not like relationships or people you're with every moment of every time take paramount, right? Because there's going to be certain times where you got to make choices and you're like, look, I can't see you today because, I'm a doctor and there's actually a pandemic around here and I got to work extra hours. Oh my God, you're not understanding. That's ridiculous. Do not stand for it, Rajiv. To me, being a doctor, a medical doctor, is a prestigious, noble position, and it's even and it's a responsibility as an individual in your community to be a doctor, to put that at a higher level than maybe seeing your girlfriend, fiance, or wife for a day or two. So if she gets whiny or upset about that, so be it. Do your job, hold your head up high. And I hope that you're proud and privileged of the work you're doing, Rajiv. You seem like a good dude. Rajiv, where are you at in the world, if I may ask? SMS Productions, what's up, everyone? It's all good in the hood. I'm the best roommate. I'm only home to sleep and shower, and I pay rent on time. What more can I ask for? What more can you ask for? I could probably ask for a few more things, but I won't. And I'm clean. Are you sure? Um, I've always liked roommates that you can interact with, that you when you stop to have a conversation and whatnot, like you're close also. So I would say that's good. Really? I'm from Nepal. I've always wanted to visit Nepal. Cool, man. Is that where you work? Is in Nepal? This is incredible when you meet people from all over the world. We just had someone from Cameroon the last couple live streams. You remember the story too, Mary? Like I said, Rajiv, that's what's so good about writing out your story is you can. I'll be fucking honest with you. Like you did not have to be sorry in that case. I think I remember she was a young dentist, right? Yes. You're most welcome. Thanks for sharing that with us. I hope that helped you. I think so. I think means I don't know. People tell me that when they're talking about something in their breakup, and I go, just remember, I think means I don't know. I want to think this. So I have a couple stories on deck. Do you guys want to hear the stories? I like doing these. Actually, okay. Story ready? We got 15 on deck. Thanks for the likes, folks. I tried to talk to her for a few more days, but she blocked me. So be it. I vaguely remember. Stay strong, Rajiv. Keep doing your doctor thing and back off that woman for a little bit. You were with her for as long as you have, and she's basically using breaking up with you as a tactic to win. And I call it kneecap theory. It's just when you argue with someone, you're in a serious relationship. You want to unpack the thing. You want to get to the bottom of things. You want to use reason and logic. You want to be understanding. But at the same time, if someone just goes, "Well, I'm breaking up with you," that's kneecaps. That's like it's like, all right, you want to go there. If I'm with a woman and she goes there, you're just telling me who you are in a relationship. All you care about is winning at all costs, and you're not a reasonable individual. And I know that a lot of people deal on emotion, and sometimes it's valid. Sometimes there's a reason to be emotional and upset. And those are the times you probably need time apart a little bit. So she needs to feel what it's like to be without you for a little bit, Rajiv. All right, here's the story. Hi, Mac. I just found out. Let me see what the time spot is. 47 minutes. We're doing well today, folks. Hi, Mac. I just found out about your channel. Was really interested in your videos. I think my story could help other viewers, so that's why I want to share it with you. Right on. I'm French. Well, I won't hold that against you. No, I'm just joking. I'm actually my grandmother's French. 26 years old, and I come from a very tolerant and open-minded family. Well, isn't that a good thing, man? I love cultural differences. I've always been attracted to foreign cultures, always willing to learn more about unfamiliar parts of the world. Wow, seems like you're a good person. I started a very serious relationship with a Kazakh, which does that mean you're from Kazakhstan? Is someone from Kazakhstan? Is that Kazakh is what I'm reading here. 3 years, a Kazakhstan guy 3 years ago. He came to France when he was 10 and is completely torn between the two cultures. From the start, his parents have been opposed to our relationship, even when he told them this was the most serious he's ever been with someone and that we shared an incredible bond. We always talked about marriage and wanting to have children. This was never a fling. At first, his parents refused to meet me, and we even broke up for 3 months once because he finally gave in to his parents' will and decided to obey by breaking up. Bottom line, if you're dating another adult that's has free will to make their decisions, you're probably not going to get in the way of them and their parents, and they have that choice to make as an individual. You don't have a lot of control over that. And if it's not going to work now, it wasn't going to work in the future. They have a whole lot of ideology around their culture. They believe it is superior to French culture and that their son only follow Kazakh roots. Again, the son needs to make that choice. And the fact that you're understanding about this kind of a thing, to each their own, and you might have to agree to disagree. They regret coming to France, and I feel like they're trying to erase their mistakes by using their son to rewrite the story. They think we are incompatible because I'm from the West and they're from an Eastern culture. Again, you're not going to change this. The fact that you know that they're this way, you're probably not going to change the parent's mind. So just you need to accept that. The individual that you're seeing right now, or as your boyfriend, he needs to make a decision on what he wants to do with his life as an individual. They are not willing to meet me halfway and to make any kind of efforts. Okay, and that's their prerogative. That's up to them. You might be thinking, hey, this isn't fair. This isn't right. No, it's just the way it is. If we went ahead and got married, they would request for me to move in with them, basically become their maid. I would probably have to quit my job too, which I don't do unless I have children. Well, bottom line, it doesn't sound like you'd want to move in with them, nor would you want to be their maid. And you're actually, in some ways, in a backhanded, passive way, saying that you don't really agree with their cultural views on women. And so that's a whole nother issue. If you're gonna marry this man, the parents are always gonna be there. He's not gonna disown his parents, I don't believe. Anyways, after the first breakup, I had started to move on and accept the fact that he chose his parents over me. Good for you. It's not easy, but what are your other options? Except 3 months later, he wrote me the most beautiful love letter ever, saying he had made a huge mistake and that we was worth more than his parents' approval. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, a letter worked here. Yeah, the letter worked because the problem wasn't in the relationship. The problem was about the parents. The problem's very, very clear. Okay. Is he going to follow his parents' quote unquote orders and obey them? Or is he going to take a chance on love with this woman and go all in? He promised to confront his parents and accept the consequences. Basically, he was going to, wow, your writing's excellent. Basically, he was going to step up, so I gave him a chance to prove that to me. After that, I finally met his parents, but I still felt like they are not accepting anything. 2 years later, I feel like the story is repeating itself. I'm not surprised. He spent some time abroad and was able to take some time outside of his parents' reach, but recently has moved back to his parents' house, and I feel like drifting away again. He's telling me he agrees with them in terms of how we should lead as long as he lives with his parents, he's going to be more influenced by them. So the only way that he would be able to shed that snakeskin is to actually not live in the same house and be away from them for a while. But if he's going to live with them, then it's going to actually increase his beliefs and their views. Our lives, he's telling me he agrees with them in terms of how we should lead our lives. If we get married, meaning he wouldn't be against me moving in with his parents and me becoming their maid. Which I'm just guessing is a deal breaker for you. I feel like we cannot be happy if we follow his parents' guidelines because remember, you said, I feel like this is what you think, not him. We cannot be happy if he follows his parents' guidelines because it will ruin our relationship as it is. Well, it'll ruin you as it is. I mean, you have no interest in becoming a maid or living with someone's parents. And so that alone is just not even going to be entertained, it sounds like. He has always treated me with respect and loved my personality. So if I had to become someone else to appeal to his parents, he wouldn't even love me anymore. Well, the question would be, would you love yourself? You would lose a piece of your soul to sacrifice this much. You know that. Don't do it. At least that's what I believe. So what would be the point? There would be no point. So you're not gonna entertain the idea of moving in with him or getting married because it's come up more than once. It's been years, and it's probably not going to change at this point. You tried. I think it's time to let this relationship go. I don't understand why he wanted to get back together with a French woman, knowing perfectly well that she wouldn't be able to fit in that kind of archaic setup. Great way to put it. Great. You're right. Excellent. I think he wanted you back and he thought he could make it work in that moment. And he thought he could overcome his parents and he wasn't able to. His main problem is the fact that he cannot embrace both his cultural identity and his parents are rejecting a big chunk. The fact that he lives with his parents makes it worse. He's not going to be able to get out of that as long as he's in their presence that much. Saying he would not only be Kazakh, which is extremely unfair since they were the ones who uprooted him as a child. Let me just tell you this. I understand that you feel like this is unfair and the parents are quote unquote maybe bad in this whole thing. It doesn't matter. The parents aren't going to change no matter what you say or how unreasonable they are or how archaic they are. They're going to be who they are based on their own life experience and how they were raised. And that's not their fault. That's conditioning. That's social proofing or social conditioning, excuse me. I don't think he will ever be happy if he chooses to follow his parents. That's his choice. Well, because the woman they will pick out for him won't be anything like the kind of woman he likes. That's on him. As an adult, he needs to make that decision, and you need to let him make that decision. And at this point, what are you chasing? What are you chasing? You're chasing a relationship where the parents already don't like you. They don't like your cultural beliefs. And you've said more than once that if you were to marry him, you'd have to move in and be their maid. And I don't think that's what you want. So the most beautiful love letter, or was the scarlet letter? If she ever calls him, he'll get let's see what they say here. I can't deal with people like that. Don't block her. She ain't worth it. She already blocked him as that's why I suggested that. I know, but she still feels satisfaction. Only block if you ever want her back in your life. This is an individual choice. Leslie, what's going on? How are you? I actually looked up Cameroon on Wikipedia. Interesting place. They called it miniature Africa. I mean, it isn't bad, and they said in Wikipedia because it has all the elements of Africa. So that's pretty interesting. You do have beaches, which is nice. I mean, it isn't bad to block her. Leaving her without a reaction is a strong one. If she ever calls him, the most beautiful love letter, or was it a scarlet letter? What's a scarlet letter? Refresh my memory on that. Oh, please don't live with someone's parents. Oh my God, they should move to America. How are you? A French woman from France. This is really common now, people living with their parents. And I understand with the finances and whatnot, but it will absolutely affect your relationship as adults. And the thing is, pointing out that parents are unreasonable or they're not fair, it's not going to change things. It just makes you a whistleblower. It's like Paul Revere without a gun or no action. It's like you're announcing to everyone that'll listen, look at how crazy this is. Look at how crazy this is. Yeah, why are you sticking around? Okay, that's the question you got to ask. Where's my power? Sometimes if you dive one layer deeper, you can perhaps find a cultural connection as to why the parents are the way they are. Dated a girl once whose parents were racist towards me. You know what? They're out there, man. They're out there. And sometimes you think like, why is someone like this? It's because they were raised that way or they had a life experience like that. I had a college roommate one time that was a bit racist towards African Americans. And I was like, where's this coming from? He wasn't outlandishly racist, but he had some issues. And I was like, and my friend that went to high school with him, I was like, where's this coming from? Because it was shocking because it wasn't in his nature, right? He made a couple comments. And he had gotten jumped by 6 or 7 black guys at a party when he was in high school because he was trying to talk to one of their girlfriends. They didn't just jump. They didn't just beat his ass, but they like threw him in the pool and like made him take his clothes off. They humiliated him. And so I'm not validating that he was racist, but just like someone that has a problem with white people or different cultures, there's usually a seed there. They weren't born that way. And it doesn't mean that I just was like, okay, now I know why he's upset, but he's got to realize that not all people are like this. It goes both ways. It's kind of interesting because when you dig a little deeper on someone like that, you're like, where's this coming from? So she's a French Russian. She didn't know. I believe they're in France. Never gave a chance to meet me, ruined a good relationship. Well, you're not going to change how they think. And sometimes you got to agree to disagree. And you don't want to validate someone's opinion by arguing about something you just don't. You're like, this isn't even something to argue about, right? I'm glad you took the time to check out my place. You are sweet. Thank you. No problem, Leslie. I was curious. A visible symbol of something you have done wrong and regretted, or a stigma of a past mistake you made that follows you. Made him take his clothes off. That could be jail sentence in some states, perhaps a felon. Yeah, what my point was, this is why he carried, quote unquote racism and later on and was upset as and this is what's the danger of stereotyping and racism. It's a generalization based on one experience. Depends on the state. Supposedly people are telling me in Sweden right now, someone was telling me that showing me an article where a lot of immigrants in Sweden are picking on local Swedes and humiliating them and beating them up, and they have these rough gangs. Have you heard about this, Rob? Yeah, I had heard of the term scarlet letter, but I didn't know exactly what it was. Do you ever do that? I know Mary does that. Do you ever have a conversation and someone says a word and you're like, what does that even mean? The word that someone just said in a recent conversation that I was like, what does that mean again? Capricious. You ever heard this word? Is that the correct spelling? Capricious. I was like, what does that mean? Sounds like a cool word. Isn't it funny how there's some words that we're actually attracted to? Yalmeel Brighter. Yamel Brighter. I think you've been on before. My ex-boyfriend's parents had so much influence over our relationship. In the end, it was consistently negative. The best thing to do is to let them go since that will continue. I agree, Yamel. Thank you for saying that because you you can sit around and go, "Oh, these parents are so bad or they're racist or they're this or that." But where your power is to go, "You know what? This isn't going to work because they're probably not going to get rid of their parents or go against their parents. And even if they go against their parents, during the relationship there's going to be this guilt, and that guilt is actually going to hurt the relationship even if they feel like they're doing the right thing." Alex D, how you been? Been looking for you in the daylight with a flashlight. How you been, bud? Yes, there are areas in Sweden that have become off limits for some. It's gotten quite strange, apparently. Yeah, true, Leslie. I don't know if that was in regards to. Uh, Same in Belgium, really. Alex, you good, man? Yeah, man. Yes, this is my second time on there. Yamel, okay. Where you at in the world again, Yamel? I forgot. We're getting Olympics today. We got international. I just wanted to say hi. Okay, bud. I hope you're well. Hope things are good. In my business, no news is good news. So, Texas, Austin, don't mess with Texas. A lot of people are moving to Texas these days. Popular place. Just had a client yesterday that said that she wants to move to Austin. And I had a client 2 weeks ago that lives in Austin. A lot of people from the Bay Area moving over there, but I'm not saying that's where you're at. Alex D, the word capricious is used a lot in Spanish. Really? Is it a Spanish word? Capricious? Is that at least in Mexican Spanish? That's funny because I've said before my grandmother was Spanish, and they speak different Spanish, right? Vosotros, nosotros. They use a little different dialect. It was funny because my grandma and my aunties that were Spanish, they had blue eyes, they had like really pale skin, black hair though, like curly hair. And my grandma was saying that she had been out before numerous times and someone would be talking shit in Spanish. And my grandma would just come out of nowhere like, "What'd you say?" Austin just recently got an MLS soccer team. Really? And what does it mean, May? What does that translate to? Capricioso. San Antonio, you're a Spurs fan? Cool. I've heard that's a really cool city. I can speak a little of Pig Latin. Let me see here. I think I got one more story for you guys today that came in. Oh, this is the story I tried to read a few days ago and it was just written so badly. I can't even read it. Take a quick look over here. Oh, that's it. It's funny how it's like a spoiled person that goes on tantrums. I think that might be similar. All right, I'll drop a couple more stories. I just pulled up. I know everyone likes this. Go Spurs. Popovich. Feel free to let me know if you have any breakup questions or if you have any questions about the earlier topic today for the show, which was Ikigai, how to change your life after a breakup, which basically is a set of questions. It's a diagram. What are things that you love? What do you do well? What can you get paid for? And what does the world need? Are the 4 questions from an Ikigai. And if you want to look up Ikigai and look at a diagram and kind of play with that, I would highly recommend it. I think it's kind of a cool thing to play with. Sometimes we get caught up in watching TV and Netflix and these things, and we don't play some mind games. Like a stuck-up brat. Have you ever been called that, Mary? Capriccio is a random idea that someone had this out of the ordinary without a reason, but they wouldn't want it without reason. Capriccio is the person who has the capriccio. Bueno. Thank you is gracias. It's funny because I think I don't speak a lot of Thai, but I think in Thai sometimes. Like I answer things in my head in Thai a little bit. That's like a fucked up thing to say to someone, huh? To say like you're stuck up. When you're around people like someone that's stuck up, it's not someone you give a lot of time to, huh? It's like, does this person even know that they're stuck up? You changed your picture, Mary, by the way. It looks cool. It's funny because all these pictures in the live chat are so small. All right, I'll do a couple stories that I have on deck, some ones from the past. I hate breakups. I really do. I've been through a lot of breakups in my life. I have some bad luck with women. I really do. I always get these. Well, bottom line is bad luck with women, you actually have a role in it. Women don't fall out of the sky and just appear. So where you're going to meet women, where you're interacting with them, and how long you're allowing relationships that you're not happy in to continue is actually not luck. I always get these stress cases that are full of drama. They start fires, and I put them out all the time. My most recent breakup happened about 3 weeks ago. We were together for 3 years. She just turned 30, and I'm 35. We don't have kids, and we each own a house we rent out somewhere else. It sounds like money's not a problem. Money has never been a problem for us. I think I just got sick of her bitching and moaning about her brother and sister. She feels like her sister is favored by her mom and gets more than her, and her brother is a crackhead, a real crackhead. So it's just a constant drama. Then you have her mom, who's never had a positive thing to say in her life, and my ex is going down the same path, just constantly negative. Well, unfortunately, when you're with someone long term, their family's problems can become your problems, and there's decisions and there's forks in the road where you got to hold your ground. You can listen, you can be there for a partner that has family issues, but when it starts affecting your life and your ability, you got to be honest with yourself and say, how far do you want to take this? She's a good-looking woman that is always fishing for compliments, and behind closed doors is a very insecure. I had to tell her she looked great 5 times before we could leave the house. Well, this is one of those things that this has nothing to do with you having bad luck with women. It has a lot to do with you having a bad approach with women. Why are you allowing yourself to be in a relationship where you have to deal with someone like this? The final issue is when she accused me of calling her fat. I just said she gained a few pounds and actually liked a little meat on the bones. She flipped this into me calling her fat. So this is manipulative. This is making you the bad guy. And again, this isn't bad luck with women. This is you accepting a situation and walking on eggshells when you can actually just walk out. At some point, this internal voice was screaming, fucking leave this crazy bitch. That's what I did. Now, 3 weeks later, she called me every day begging me back. I can't shake her. You can shake her. You can. It's just going to take time and patience. It's going to take you blocking her phone calls. And if you have to get a restraining order. And I've come close to having her over for some comfort sex. It would be good for both of us. Do you think I should shut off all contact to get over this? I definitely wouldn't have comfort intimacy at this point because you're going to get manipulated and you're going to get drawn back in. Do you think I should just shut off all contact to get over this? Absolutely. Am I playing with fire here? Yes. If you ask the question, am I playing with fire here? You usually know the answer. And the answer is yes. Always listen to the internal voice. Mac, I'd add an additional category to those questions. What do you want to do? What do you want to get out of life? Just realizing how different this is in varying age groups. That's a good point. What do you want to get out of life? Can we reframe that question more specifically? Thanks, Leslie. It is an interesting story, huh? What do you want to get out of life? I don't know if I like that question. What would be your answer, Judy Jack? One more story here. I'm 19 years old. My girlfriend's 19 years old. We have been together for 1 year. She's my first serious girlfriend. I don't want to lose her. I think she's losing interest in me. Recently she started to go out with friends more and leave me behind. Last weekend she went on a camping trip with her friends that was supposed to be just girls. But I spotted some pictures on her phone with another group of guys. When I asked, she said her friend invited some guy she worked and he brought some friends. It wasn't in her plan. She couldn't tell him to leave. I was so pissed. We fought about it and I said it wasn't fair to be lied to. Life's not fair, buddy. She said she was telling the truth and I was acting like a little wimp. I couldn't believe she said that to me. I lost it. We haven't spoken for 3 days. We didn't really break up, but I don't want to break the silence. She needs to say sorry. She doesn't need to say sorry unless she's really sorry. So you don't want to force someone to say sorry to you. How should I approach this? And when does she call? How do I keep my cool? Well, regardless of what happened and why, if you're going to get back together, you're going to have to forgive her if she's sorry. So keeping her cool would be listening rather than. Sometimes people get angry and they don't even accept an apology. They just continue to want to be angry and hurt someone else. So you have to be ready to accept an apology. What if she doesn't call? Should I call her? Well, yeah, if you do that, though, you lose all power in the fact of being upset with her. Most 19-year-old guys have no clue what they were doing. I'd have to agree with that. With journaling, I want to be content, whatever that is. So then the answer to that would be, what would make you content with life? Apparently we are. If we need further clarity on that, I will book a coaching session with Mac. I help with everything, but I'm primarily a breakup coach, Mary. But I have helped people with dating quite a bit, and I've had help people with their family issues and different things like that. Actually, I've actually had a few clients go, you know what? You actually help with way more than just a breakup. And I go, it all starts with that, though, right? Because what a breakup does is it makes you realize you want to work on some other things. It puts you at ground zero, And it kind of makes you think like, well, let me look at all the other pieces of my life. And then that's when I can help you with those things. Would journaling help post breakup? Absolutely. I heard journaling can help gain clear perspective. So I was thinking to write down all feelings and then ask myself if it's right or logical question myself in any way. Yeah. Sarabah Namdi. Yes. Journaling helps to just get it out of your mind. So if your mind's running, just getting it on paper helps. Asking yourself good questions is always great. Why do I really want this woman back? And just start journaling off a topic like this. What would life be like if I embraced being single? So maybe throw some topics on these journals and just kind of riff on them. What do you think about someone who enjoys watching his woman flirt with other men? Turns them on. Is that healthy? I mean, there's worse things out there, but I would have to say, where does that come from? You know, what's the definition of flirting? Also, what's the line? I mean, for him to enjoy her flirting with other men, I don't have the fact that he enjoys it. It would be better if he said he didn't mind it so much, but turns him on. Is that healthy? I don't know if it's healthy or not healthy, but I don't have a big problem about it. I don't think it's harmful. But where's that coming from? She knew about the beforehand. She left the sand on the beach. 19 and pics on the phone. Most 19-year-old guys have no clue. Nothing shows confidence more than not getting jealous and genuinely wishing them to have fun when they have a vacay away. Insecurity pushes them away. I agree, Judy Jack. Oh, yeah, you did help. At 19, he needs to figure out how things work. That's a start. Who said that? Mind reader, who said that? Me with my new job in place to live. Yes, writing always makes me feel good. Am I being blocked? No. Oh, you might have been blocked on something else you said. I don't know. You look like a singer, Mary. I think I could see you doing karaoke or coffee shop band. Well, I got about 10 minutes. Any closing questions here? Or you guys want to do one more story? Hour 17 minutes. This is the like button time. I got to eat. Actually, I'm getting hungry. Rob and Mary sitting in a tree. Kissing. Hello, coach. I'm 28 years old. My wife or recent ex is 31 years old. She's a dentist and I'm a plumber. I actually own a company. I have 10 guys under me. We live in the Bay Area. It's easy to make money here, but easy to spend too. I know that quite well. I've lived there before. Going out to dinner in the city can easily cost $100 after tip for high class dinner for two. Now here's the thing. We got the money, but I was taught to value money and save it. We have kids. One day I don't want to be throwing money down the drain on expensive dinners out when we can eat at home or go to a simple cafe. My wife says I worry too much and we deserve to treat ourselves. That's the problem. She treats herself way too much. Every weekend she goes to the mall and spends over $200 in clothes and food out. Obviously, this story was written before because COVID has stopped that. A buddy of mine says his wife spends more and thinks I'm lucky. He said, look, she makes good money. She can spend how she wants. Shit. Most men bitch when it's their money being spent, but there's her being a dentist. She's raking in some coin. What's my buddy doesn't know is my wife is a young dentist with a small practice and high rent. We have over $20K in credit card debt, a house payment that's barely getting paid. Finally about it. See, this is really interesting because there's a lot of people that think sometimes people are rich by their jobs, but their lifestyles are actually indebted. So this is interesting. Finally, about a week ago, we had it out and I said, I'm done. There's no reason to live paycheck to paycheck so she could spend money like a movie star. Now, a week later, I've come to my senses and don't want to lose a good woman. How do we work on this thing? How do I get her spending to stop? Am I overreacting? No, you're not overreacting because this is important to you, and being married and having kids involves finances. So, um, if that's an area that you guys are like this and someone's overspending, that's a situation where a lot of marriages break up for that reason. And spending can be an addiction. And the idea of you living paycheck to paycheck when you guys make a lot of money is real. And so if you've had talks about it and you haven't gotten anywhere, maybe it's time to break up. Seriously. Because you'll get bankrupted. And the fact that you're talking to a wall about this, it's a difference in values and morals, but it will affect you when your finances are like that. And some people don't mind being in debt. Some people, it's highly stressful. If it's highly stressful, it's going to affect your health. It's going to affect how you treat people. And so I don't blame you. I don't like being in debt. I don't have any debt right now. And I'm pretty proud of that. Thank you for sharing. One more for the road. Thank you for sharing these stories. I'll take it as a compliment. Britney Spears finished swimming. Nice. No, you singing in a karaoke bar. First thing popped in my head when I saw your pic. My brother just brought Time some wings, and I'm about to throw it down. Not a mind reader. I pay attention to small things. Pay enough attention. You can predict what comes next through patterns or experience. That is true. People living above their means. I agree. One more. Zero debt's a good feeling. I remember I was doing an internship in downtown San Francisco for a commercial real estate firm. I was, 21 or 22. And the guy I worked for was like, zero, Mac, is a very good place to be at. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, are you going to be in serious debt when you get out of college? I said, no, because I've been working during college and I haven't gotten any student loans. And I said, yeah, no, I don't have any debt right now. And he's like, zero is a very good number to be at. I always remember that. And it is. Yes, my dad used to always say, it's not how much you make, it's how what you say. If you grew up during the Depression, now with the COVID, now with the COVID, the overspenders have been up for shock. Yeah. Past is the best predictor of the future. Money is absolutely one of the main reasons that relationships and marriages end. Well, especially in areas that are expensive, right? And there is a difference based on culture and how you were raised on how you spend money. And so a lot of times it's overlooked, but once you get married, a big part of marriage is commingling your funds. So if he or she did it before, the odds are high that they will do it again. And this is a clear-cut case where you're like, yeah, you probably do have to get a divorce. I feel like debt is easier to manage and maintain outside of the U.S. Absolutely. That might be an understatement. I know from experience. I'll tell you that right now. Saying that, I never grew up extravagant and stuff. I always lived by my means. And it wasn't until I worked in real estate that I started running up credit card bills, because in real estate, it's a write-off. And so, like my mentor and the guy I worked with would just buy everyone lunch, and you'd always go out to eat. And so you just put your card on it. It's kind of part of the subculture. And you're like, oh, it's a write-off. It's a write-off. I would always pay that credit card off. But that was the only time I was paying. It was usually a debit, but I would use a credit card sometimes. But I've never been out of hand with them. No way. And as of now, I have no credit debt. All right, folks, hour 23 minutes. It's been a pleasure. It's been great. Thanks for the likes. Todd, look forward to it. But I did send you an email, I believe, a follow-up email to yours. So look forward to maybe talking to you in the near future. Rob, it's always a pleasure. Double D, it's always a pleasure. Azam, I hope you enjoyed your swim. Judy Jack, you're the best. Yamel, I'm glad you joined back in. David, congrats on the new job. Leslie, I'm glad you're becoming a little regular here. Mary, just don't have anything to say to you, Mary, actually. I'm joking. Have a good one, Mary. Saurabh, it was a pleasure having you on again, bud. Stopping in. Rajiv, the doctor from Nepal. I hope you're well. Alex, Steve, you're still on. Thank you, bud. Otherwise, it is curtains.